Do you know about the first American female combat veteran officially recognized by Congress for her heroism on the battlefield? Of course you don't. Almost no one does, but you're about to. Margaret Corbin started out life on the frontier, living pretty rough with her family until she was 5. That's when her parents were killed by American Indians. She was sent to live with her uncle, where instead of going to school, she learned how to work the farm and defend her home. When she was 21, she got married to John Corbin, and in 1775, he enlisted as an artilleryman in Pennsylvania and deployed. Margaret, no stranger to danger in combat, decided she wanted to get on the war too, and she went with him as a camp follower. Camp followers were wives who traveled with the troops and took care of cooking, cleaning, and handling the wounded while the men fought the battles. But Margaret didn't want to just stay behind. She found a role for herself on the front lines, carrying water to cool the artillery as it was fired. She earned the nickname Molly Pitcher. After enduring a few months of combat, they ended up at the Battle of Fort Washington in New York on November 16, 1776, where British and German soldiers were about to overrun the last stronghold on Manhattan. At the peak of the battle, when things were looking pretty grim, Margaret refused to fall back and instead stole a fallen soldier's uniform and disguised herself as a man to get in the fight. Then, tragically, her husband John was hit by grapeshot and killed. So she immediately took over his cannon and began sending accurate artillery fire downrange. She cleaned, loaded, and fired the weapon over and over, becoming the first woman in active combat for the United States ever. She continued fighting until she was severely wounded by enemy fire. Her left arm was effectively shot off and rounds went through her chest, shoulder, and face. When the battle was over and the British took the base, they captured Margaret with the other prisoners. They were shocked to discover a woman fought so well against them. So they ended up treating her and she survived. And then shortly after, she was released. She had severe permanent wounds, leaving her disabled. But because she was a woman, there was no programs in place to take care of her as a war veteran. So on July 6, 1779, Congress approved a permanent military pension for her, making her the first medically retired female veteran of the United States military. She also earned a new nickname. She was thereby known as Captain Molly. But she had a rough life after. She was more a soldier than a lady, and she spent her days with soldiers at West Point, smoking, drinking, and sharing stories. And she passed away when she was 48 years old. Today, there's a monument erected at West Point. The dedication read, "Her bravery and legacy continues to transcend and inspire women in military service today." This story was recommended by a viewer, so who should I talk about next? Leave it in the comments.